Hello, hello.
Hello,
Hello.
Simon Burge. How's everyone? We've got 8 people in here already. How is that physically possible? Usually it takes like half an hour for Simon looking around in the room. Looking around
They're
in the
all
room.
around me.
I know. Are the NFTs in the room with you, Simon, at the moment? Can you see?
Yes, they're all looking at me and they're asking me questions, and I can't deal with it anymore.
I love it. Guys, just to the 9 of you who've joined us really early, really appreciate you. Just do me a massive favor if you could just share it on whatever platform you are listening to it on. Usually it bodes quite well for the stream, and the viewership usually compounds as we keep talking, because people are interested in you, Simon, and obviously Burge as well. Burge, before we got online, you looked a little bit giddy. And we quizzed you a little bit. Me and Simon, we did a little bit of digging. Me and Simon are under strict instructions not to talk about the actual person, but what we want to talk about, obviously, is a bit of your dating life at the moment.
Sure.
You've I don't know, you've just been happy, smiling. You look like you're a bit loved up, and obviously you've met someone, which is amazing. But how are you going on these dates, bud? And how are you meeting these people?
Interesting. It's very interesting. This is actually how I met my previous partner as well. It's on. I've been using chat roulette, and previously when I met my previous partner during COVID, we were using Omegle.
Right, I was going to say, because I remember Omegle. Do you remember that Harry Mack, that rapper?
Yeah.
He popularized it because obviously there's just these random people that pop up and he does a rap for them, and like, holy shit, that's amazing.
Yes.
So let me get this right.
Sometimes when you go on there, sometimes people ask, "Are you streaming?" Because people try and make content, whether it's for TikTok, whether it's a video, or whether it's like actually live streaming on Twitch. People try and make content as well. So that there's that element of it as well. Like people want to make sure that you're.
So hold on. So all of these episodes we've been doing, and me and Simon have been talking about our Hinge dates that we've been going on, and you've just kept really quiet in the corner. This guy's a savage. He's going on bloody chat roulette. That's basically like just getting on a date straight away.
It sounds bad though. I feel like chat roulette has like a bad connotation to it.
Yeah.
And even, you know what? Genuinely, even like when I met my previous partner and like through Omegle, during a time where it was pretty standard for people to go on there, because obviously during COVID, you couldn't go out the house. So a lot more people went on platforms like that. And honestly, Omegle as a platform, pretty horrible. It's pretty awfully managed.
It got taken down, didn't it? Did it get banned?
Yeah, it got closed down because there was no safeguards or anything. But you know what? So I used to be pretty maybe embarrassed would be the right word, of like that being how we met. But now coming out the other side of that relationship, and actually even before I ran into this person, I actually have changed my mind. I actually think it's kind of sneaky. I think it's kind of underrated.
Sneaky.
Kind of sneaky. I wasn't expecting that.
It's kind of underrated. I think the world is much smaller than it used to be nowadays, and you can travel and you can meet pretty much anyone. And I would recommend. I don't know if I'd recommend it, but I would definitely not.
We're being sponsored by them. No,
this is going to end up being a dating show. We're going to talk about dating lives.
It makes sense to me because I'm so old-fashioned in a sense, because I'm just going on Bumble and messaging, and I find it really frustrating. What you're doing, Burge, is just talking to other people almost face-to-face, as in the video call, and it just makes so much more sense.
Yeah, and it's not always like under the guise of like a romantic, like you're speaking normally, like you're speaking casually at first, and then that kind of like test the water of whether like you guys are interested in each other. But you could just have a friendly chat with someone from the other side of the world, and I've had many of those, and I think that's actually really nice as well. And you can filter by country, etc. I honestly, I think dating apps, I really don't like dating apps. So I do think someone needs to innovate in that sector. And it's just, I just feel like this is kind of underrated.
I think that is actually because nothing, and some you'll know this because we're kind of not from the same generation, but I'm just saying you'll never ever experience that fear and dread when you've had to go up to a girl at the bar or a boy, but Simon, joking.
Hey.
Or the fear of rejection, or the going up to them and asking and speaking to them, but also knowing when there's that chemistry there, and you know that you click with them. And I guess this does that. I mean, you must have known, Burge, when you first got on with this girl on the street. Oh, okay. Now I'm going to pull out all the stops.
Yeah. Yeah, like I think you can sense connection. I mean, it also helps when like that first initial call with a complete who is basically a complete stranger. When that lasts for a long time, that's also a good indication that you guys are at least interested in each other. It's funny, Constantine, I was just going to interrupt you. Constantine messaged in the founders chat. He said, "Bird just giving out the alpha. This is the only alpha that I have. I don't have any NFT alpha, unfortunately, other than maybe Rectors." Funny
enough, just mentioning Constantine, who is, and I can probably say this on stream, but we've got a private group call on Tuesday with the founder of Crypto Skulls, which is a historical NFT project. Alexei is going to jump on. Obviously, he's Russian. And I've got Constantine, who is going to be the interpreter, which will be awesome. Failing, obviously, him not being there, I was going to use Grok, which probably would have been amateur hour. And I had a few practice goes on Grok, and I was like, right. But then what Grok does is it takes everything you say too literal. So they're like, yeah, I'm going to ask him this now. And I'm like, anyway. Yes. So that will be an interesting one. Simon, have you been up to anything interesting this week? You said something about your daughter shaving your head. I didn't.
Breaking news. No, basically, this is really boring, so I'll be really quick. I've been regularly going to the hairdresser twice a month for absolutely no reason at all, because I haven't really got any hair. But I have felt obliged because the hairdresser is a very nice person. I've known her for years, but it's ridiculous. And friends keep saying, "Simon, you don't have any hair, right?"
Do they still charge you full whack for that?
No, it's about 11 quid a go, so it's not too bad. But still, it's 20. But I thought to myself, no, come on, put yourself first. So anyway, I got my daughter to shave my head because still a bit of hair grows. Oh my God, she did it really well in the garden. And then
I didn't. Did she ask for the 11 quid?
No, but do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if she did. So now I'm going to venture to do my own because it's ridiculous.
Just for our American viewers, quid is like slang for pound.
Oh, sorry, pound.
Yeah. Just obviously.
The other bit of news is that because I'm doing a lot of vibe coding and doing AI-driven workflows, and I've really enjoyed doing that over the last 6 to 8 months. It's enabled me to produce ideas I've had for so many years. But then I got a little commission to do a proper one with a consultancy in the area that training.
I'm very proud of you, because you've been deep in the weeds of that.
Yeah, because I'm the last person in the world who can program, but I come up with ideas, and now I can use the programming. And it's weird when you actually get a little bit of a job for something you just enjoy doing in a completely related field. So that's my news. And
I just want a massive shout out to Ahmet, who's actually just reshared the stream, which I really appreciate. He's obviously a member in the founders chat, but also a regular on the show. I really appreciate him. He says, want to learn more about crypto and NFTs, or just want to hang out with some cool and funny dudes. That doesn't include me, because I think, Simon, you're the fun. No, I'm joking. But Ahmet, really appreciate you sharing that, and obviously diving on the stream. Same with David, who shared it, and Gene as well. Really appreciate you guys. Just to the 31 of you, if you just do me a massive favor, just share the stream out. It is how the live stream grows. Obviously, we are somewhere in the depths of, I guess, the bear market. There's seemingly some life in collectibles, which is then transferring into NFTs. Just before I hopped on, I could see that the Clarity Act on Polymarket has now a 21% chance of getting passed this year, which is basically it dropped from last week. I think it was like a 30%, and it's seemingly not going to happen this year. It feels like the memetics of this 4-year cycle are going to play out as normal. Have you guys got any thoughts about kind of where we are? Bitcoin is hovering around 64K, which it's crazy because just 3 years ago it was at 16 grand, and it was they were like people queuing up at outside Silicon Valley banks because there was a bank run, and people then kind of priced up the price of Bitcoin. Any thoughts about where we are in the cycle at the moment?
I've got just a couple of thoughts on that topic, and then Burge, jump in.
Yeah.
I was thinking, do you remember 3 or 4 years ago where we used to say the SEC is against us, Gary Gensler, whoever it was, and was like, if only they could be more positive, it could make a huge difference. And then we focused on the Clarity Act, and quite understandably, and made that the kind of the goal, which may not happen this year, it looks like, as you say. But then you look at what the SEC, who is very pro-crypto, is doing anyway, and they're almost going, forget all that. Well, but we're going to do what we're going to do anyway. And, just saying here that they propose the regulation crypto assets, a landmark framework designed to create tailored capital raising pathways, etc. So it's happening. And then when you couple that with tokenization coming out more and more in the financial system, I mentioned that Raoul Powell interview. Is it Blue Macellari, I think her name is, who is the head of digital assets at T. Rowe Price. And she was saying, what we are experiencing now are all these institutions, all these people are coming at us saying, we need to understand tokenization, or we need to get involved. And do you remember, Jaden, about 6-7 months ago, I was saying, I think I'm going to go onto LinkedIn, and I even did, and post a little article saying, do you want to know about tokenization? You should, and everything. And you were saying,
there's still those, I'm sorry, those guys on LinkedIn are still getting their head around Bitcoin. So it's like the amount of people who speak to branding and marketing experts are like,
get it. Yes, I know. And you quite rightly said it's brilliant, and we all know it's brilliant, but they won't even know what the hell you're talking about. But what's nice to see is some of the bigger players and these big, asset companies are now getting that. So I guess as I'm saying, whatever happens, I think it's heating up anyway through other routes and other doors are being opened.
Yeah, I mean, obviously we watch a lot of the Raoul Powell stuff, and he says obviously if the function of these assets is just financial conditions, and largely people just having money in their pockets for discretionary spending. And if you look at where we've been, like some of you'll know this, when we went to that Soho London bar or whatever, it was like £7 a pint, which is, we've just normalized that. It wasn't so long ago, it was like £2.50 for a beer. And like even at my in my local town, it's like £6-7 a pint, and then you're going out, and then it's squeezing, and then you don't have enough discretionary money to put into, I guess, speculative investments, and that's the whole game here. So people need more money, and largely one of the things that Raoul Powell says is obviously rates need to come down for debts to get rolled over. If you think about it normally, like from first principles thinking, if you have a mortgage or you have personal finance debt or car debt, and rates come down, and you roll that over, and let's say the 48 viewers viewing the stream also have all of that money free, it's probably likely they're going to find their way into crypto or NFTs, because that's just the thing that we lean into. So interesting. I do have a Raoul Powell video, and one of the things he says that people aren't factoring in is that these network adoption models run on something called Metcalfe's law, meaning the users drive the value to the network. But he's saying what AI is doing now is creating something called Reed's law. Reed's law is like Metcalfe's law squared. And what it means is, like, for every human on Earth, there are going to be between 10 and maybe 50 AI agents. And what that's going to do, because they're going to transact in crypto, is going to create this exponential rising effect that humans haven't factored in. Because when they look at these models, they go, oh, well, there's 8 billion people on Earth. I guess 900 million people have got crypto, or like, let's say, hovering around maybe 8 to 10% of people having crypto exposure. But what we're not accounting for is the exponential rising effect of AI agents transacting in crypto and using it far more than humans will. And I got this video up. It runs for about a minute, but I think it's really worth watching. And I'll just add it on the screen here. And let's just see if I can get it over here. Bear with me 2 seconds. Let's push play on that.
Elon's talking about the robot will be the largest single product ever sold. Okay, there's 1 billion robots. Okay, that makes a difference. But when you're talking about 10 billion, 50 billion agents, we have no comprehension what that means. So the economic system just doesn't function. It's moving so fast now. So almost all technological adoption in all of history have been Metcalfe's law. So they kind of grow in that log channel. Look at Google chart from its day one, look at Facebook, look at the NASDAQ, look at all of them, they're all the same chart. And that's Metcalfe's law. Now, the issue is AI is the first ever recorded example of Reed's law. So Reed's law was theoretical. It's not observed in biology. We don't see it in things like viruses. Doesn't exist. Now it exists. Mm-hmm. And so what we're seeing is Reed's law is Metcalfe's law squared. So it's the exponential of the log channel, the exponential of the exponential. So to put it in terms that people understand, ARC put out a piece of research about showing the annual output of words, estimated annual output of words of all of humanity each year, from the Gutenberg press in 1500 to today. AI, in 3 years, has now exceeded per year all of the output of all humans on Earth in terms of words. By 2028, so this is now, call it 6 years, 5 years after AI really came out, it will have produced more words than all of humanity has ever produced in sum total. Elon's talking.
That is astonishing the way he explains it. Have you guys got any thoughts on that?
I mean, I was talking before we went live, and I was saying to Simon, like, he makes a big point there, right, about agents, AI agents, and we're all going to have them. Like, each individual is going to have them. I bet companies are going to have loads. But I was just thinking, like, does that mean that the people with the most resources, the wealthier individuals, are they going to have more of an influence because they're able to deploy more agents out there? Let's say an individual, it's normal for, an everyday person to have 1, 2, 3, 5 agents at most, right? What happens if you're extremely high net worth and you're able to deploy 10,000 or 100,000 agents? Like, surely that's going to mean that there's 100, like, you're going to be able to impact the market much more. Like, the result of what your 100,000 agents do is going to dwarf, the everyday person's agents. And I just feel like it's an interesting, especially when you look at like investing, for example. That's how I'm thinking about it. It's like, well, if the top people think that collectibles is about to explode, or that NFTs should have more value, and they start trading or accruing NFTs with these agents, then that's how the market is going to play out in reality, right? It's not going to matter what Johnny is doing with his 2 agents, and whether he's deciding to trade crypto or NFTs with those, because someone over here with 100,000 agents is getting all of them to trade crypto or NFTs, which is going to increase the volume.
Idea, and someone listening would know, but my thinking, the only thing I might just not challenge on that, but look at it a different way, is it could be down to the quality of the agents themselves, the tech that sits behind them, or the programming that sits behind them. And can agents create another agents and further agents? So do you need to be paying for lots of agents? Maybe it might be that the wealthiest people can get the most talent, pay the best people to do what they want them to do. But I'd say the technologists might be the winners.
If someone's listening to this and they're like, okay, well, I just hold a bit of Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, maybe Solana, and then there's a group of people that hold some NFT stuff, they'll be asking, well, hold on a second, how does this impact me? Obviously, this increased productivity, people are going to be transacting in these tokens, which is going to drive the price up. That's obviously the angle he's coming from.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think, going back to Raoul Powell, he said before, and the only way these agents are going to operate is on the rails that make it happen, and that's blockchain. And that's why there's marriage made in heaven with crypto and AI agents. The other thing is that I think when I look at NFTs now, and we went on about the ERS 6551 bound NFTs, because they're now able to hold tokens and information and art. I think from that point of view, if you imagine those becoming agentic, I mean, you can right now, I've got a couple of stackers on Robinhood, and I've assigned it to just give me SpaceX, Tesla, some Google tokens, because of course Robinhood is set up for tokenized assets. And now the dev, who I think is very, very good, by the way, very intelligent, very good at communicating. I've noticed that. Don't know who they are, but they're really good. He or she is creating more and more kind of, I guess, abilities with this. But fundamentally, I have manually set something to happen, right? Of course, it doesn't take a big leap of faith for that NFT to be agentic and AI driven. And if it can interact with tokens, interact with all those kinds of things, then it becomes fairly exponential. And
this is where obviously there's going to be a huge supply of these assets. If there's 10 to 100 agents per human, there's going to be a huge oversupply of assets. And I think that then drives a significant amount of demand for the NFTs that have built-in supply friction. The scarce digital art, historical art, IP plays, culturally significant art is going to have outsized demand. If you think about it, and for me in particular, the historical stuff, because you can never go back to that moment in time and recreate that. And there's always a reason for people to go back to it. Who was the White Rabbit? He's like the godfather of historical NFTs. We did a brilliant interview with him. He had like a screen cover on. It was actually a rabbit. I was talking to a rabbit for fucking an hour. And the thing he says is it doesn't matter what happens, but you can never take away that first shot. So it doesn't matter what the first shot was, but you fired off this thing, you've given this thing life, and now everything else is built out on top of it. So they, over time, will become the fossils that carry the entire digital asset space. And, you know, like the only bet you need to make, especially with the historical NFTs, is to bet on us becoming more digitized. And we've always valued art. It's been on pavements, walls, canvas, caves. Now it's digital. And people are like, no, I can just right click and save that, or I can just take a screenshot. See, now look, I own it. And so you know, people are doing all sorts of stuff like that. But I think in the end, the historical stuff is the best risk-adjusted stuff, especially with this oversupply of digital assets that's probably coming. Bearing in mind, I believe every single business is going to launch an NFT project the same way they have a Facebook page when the price is driven down, simply because of the way it organizes community. You have a customer base of people. What's the best way to not lose your customer base? Get them around a table together and build those network effects. Look at what I didn't want to mention him. I don't want to say it. Okay, I say it, Gary V.
That's okay.
But okay, no. Let's use a different example. Let's use Bored Ape Yacht Club and what they do with Ape Fest. That's 5 years now of people hooking up, buddies for life. In fact, they've probably a few of them probably had fallouts in person because they're that much of bros now. But the problem is the asset now forms a part of your friendship group, so it doesn't matter what the asset is because people are organizing around it. Now, it's got the social signaling of the art. People are using it as their PFPs. But this is why the NFTs, for me, are just the one, especially in a world where you have almost like an infinite supply of tokens. And it's like, well, what fucking token do I pick? Yeah, you can have, I think the ones that have the Lindy effect of being around a couple of cycles, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP. But then some of the newer ones, it's just like, you know, some people messaging me about these AI tokens. And I'm like, there's fucking tons of these things. Like, which one do you pick? And obviously, I know there's certain ones that have certain provenance. I know that there was one created from an AI agent. I think Fartcoin might have been created from an AI agent. So there's just like, I might be getting that wrong, so don't dunk on me in the comments.
I've got to say, that's an agent with a sense of humor then.
No, but it's like obviously there's a cultural element, because you imagine something like Fartcoin overtakes whatever great technology you think is going to be the next thing. People evangelize about the technology, not realizing it's actually the users that agree that something has value. It's like Doge was created as a joke, and now it's, you
were saying about the historical NFTs. I totally agree. Those and the collections, whoever they may be, who continue to innovate and utilize latest technology, because NFTs are rapidly becoming so much more than static pieces of art, which can hold value quite rightly in their own right. They're now becoming more and more fluid, dexterous. They can do so many things. They can, have token art inside them because of the wallets. And that's just, I reckon, just the beginning. And I think we said this last week, you can absolutely know that there are some very clever people in existing collections who are already going, hold on, let's not jump just on the Robin Hood bandwagon right now. It's really interesting, and I've got a few. It's more, what can we do with what we've got without just leaping? Let's spend some weeks and months thinking about what we can really do now. And I think they're the ones I think are really great. I mean, the Chimpers have jumped straight in there. The Diamond were born with the ER 6551 contract. Fantastic. And innovation or historical.
I like that. And also, obviously the IP plays a people. But what we'll do is I'm just going to flick to Burge quickly, and we'll come on to those projects that you're looking at. Burge, there was something on the timeline with Adam Weitzman, who it just seems to be like the oracle of NFTs at the moment. He's single-handedly trying to revive the space by himself. He was at a wedding, and somewhat ironically, he was maybe sat next to Gary V. I know that both him and Gary are mates that have a bit of history or whatever, obviously good history. But it was interesting to read the thread. He posted something along the lines of,
I've got it here if you want.
Yeah, okay, you got it on the screen. Nice one. I'll bring it up.
Just look. So he said, at wedding in California, got sat next to Gary V. I don't know if that's pure chance or the planner somehow knows.
Maybe they decided to put the NFT geeks together. They were like, no, fuck these guys. They're not sociable. So
they said spoke NFTs the whole. He said spoke NFTs the whole night with Gary. Learned so much. Guys, next level, crazy smart. I see Justin Bieber here as well. Maybe I need to get him to put his 8 PFP back up. I'm working extra hard for Web3 tonight. And then someone actually said, where's the image? We need to see proof. And they were like, they took our phones, unfortunately, right at the beginning. But if I jump here, because I know you wanted to reference this as well from Gary.
Yeah. So just read the comment from Gary in the thread. And then I see Gary's wrote his own individual post referencing what Adam was saying.
Yeah, so Gary responded to this post. He said, we're very early in the era of Web3 collectibles and the utility and capabilities of these collectibles. Let there be no confusion. These are collectibles. And as the world learns for technology and we make it easier for normies to buy them, they will continue to be collected. So Gary is very strongly of the opinion that NFTs are here to stay, that they're not going away. And let's not forget, there was a lot of naysayers. There was a lot of negativity over the last few years, but it peaked maybe last year or even this year, where people were like, are NFTs ever actually going to make a comeback? A lot of people really lost faith. And I think we've also seen it with, people exiting the market and not really interested in NFTs anymore. But these are here to stay. And I do really think they're going to have a resurgence at some point. Here's what Gary tweeted out, and this was kind of referencing.
This would have been straight after this wedding, right?
Yeah, I think so. He said, for a market to be really healthy and growing, we don't need 1 to 2 people with mass fame and 87 million followers or whatever to do a quick move.
To Bieber there, and obviously Adam Weitzman's tweets, isn't it?
Yep. He's because he's saying We don't need them to change their PFP to an NFT like Justin Bieber, for example, which is what Adam Weitzman was referring to. We need to onboard normal people, the normal people that have 87 followers, and educate them so that they can take their cynical POV, and that cynical POV is rife, especially if you look on like Twitch, and you go look at Twitch chat, for example, as it can be a good barometer for like how the public feels. You get a lot of opinions very quickly with a live stream chat, and it's like the hatred towards NFTs is rife. And Gary's saying we need to consider them and try and kind of convert them to liking NFTs and collecting and providing utility through NFTs. He said if we onboard 100 regular people who have actual collectible DNA, that will help grow NFTs substantially compared to, one famous person. I think in reality it's both, isn't it?
He does say at the end there, which is quite important. He says, my greatest pride is in how many normies we onboarded here at VFriends during the winter. I was really surprised by the amount of people saying, oh, no, they're Web2 folks. Now what you're seeing with VFriends is the price isn't correlated with the rest of crypto. People aren't shitting their pants because they're just thinking, well, I just want to get this for the collectability of it.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's actually held, if you look at it on NFT Floor, the VFriends chart, it's up and to the right. Obviously in ETH terms, ETH is getting crushed, but the rest of the NFT market, and this is just fucking solid.
And when we saw projects, like when we saw a slight downturn in the market and NFT projects across the board were in the red, we saw VFriends Series 2 and VFriends Series 1 remain the most stable or performed the best, outperformed the others in terms of not going down, or maybe not going down at all, or maybe going up slightly, or maybe only going down a little bit compared to the other projects. So it definitely, Gary's right. I think that strategy has really paid off. And also one thing I would say as well is even the people that hate on Gary, that don't like him, who are in the crypto Twitter or NFT space, they give him credit for the amount of education that he gave and the amount of people he onboarded during 2020, 2021 when this thing was heating up. Even they give him credit for that.
One of the things I've noticed, or the gap that a lot of the founders are missing or haven't been able to give me an answer, is I don't think some of them realize how high the floor price of their collection is going to go. And to date, no founder, especially the ones I've been interviewing, have been able to tell me how they're going to sustain the floor price, which is an interesting one because it's not something people think of. They just think about, actually the price going up is a good thing, without realizing, hold on, there's going to be a percentage of new buyers that enter at a high price, and you're just going to piss off a whole bunch of people. And one of the things that, especially with Gary, he pumped VFriends and it went to like 23 ETH floor. But one of the things that he said, which stuck out to me, because I used to work for a FTSE 250 company, and the CEO of the company used to say the same thing. He said, all we're looking for is price stability. Because if we get price stability, it adds confidence. You don't want these massive sharp rises, which is why I assume for 2 years he basically went quiet. And then people started calling him a tourist. Meanwhile, he was working on the physical stuff, which is interesting. Also on the Gary Vee topic, and I don't want to make this a Gary Vee bloody podcast.
I love the way beginning it was. You went, I don't know if I'm going to mention him, but Gary Vee.
And now we basically now we got to shut up. But he's the one, guys. VFriends is the one. I'm sorry. It just is what it is. It looks like a duck. Get it out of you. Yeah, let it out. Let it out. It's therapy, Simon. I know. If it looks like a duck, it quacks like a duck. It's a fucking duck, mate. But I'll tell you more just on the stink that's around NFTs. He did a live stream the other day. He sold about 500 comic books in the space of like 30 seconds, and hundreds of caps, and all of these physical assets, all VFriends related. And then he said, claps his hands together, right, guys, who of you have got and I can't, I'm like, don't call it an NFT. Don't call it an NFT. Just call it a digital collectible. Don't call it an NFT. And he's like, so who of you got a VFriends Series 2 in here? And then everyone's like, no. And then he does the share screen thing. He's like, guys, if you get onto OpenSea, you can buy one here. Actually, if you buy this VFriend Series 2 NFT, it becomes an access pass to the physical asset. It's got to be utility. And then he gives it the big sale about, he basically said he's uncomfortably better than Walt Disney in terms of skill. And I was like, okay, fucking I was like, that's fucking your kahunas are fucking the size of China at the moment. But anyway, we'll move on. And then I'm thinking, Simon, there's 750 people in the stream. I'm thinking one person's going to buy an NFT. One person's going to click on OpenSea. They're going to buy an NFT. This will be amazing. And it's going to drive. And I'm looking on OpenSea while I'm on this live stream, and not one single person bought an NFT. And I'm like,
really?
So that tells you where we are. You've got someone who, in my opinion, is very influential. And if you ask people to do something, there's a lot of people that are influenced by him, and they'll be like, yeah, let's do it. But I just think, firstly, there's still a lot of friction to buying it, because you get on OpenSea and you're like, well, how the fuck do I buy one of these? I've got to get the ETH first. I've got to, maybe I can click my card.
I agree. What you want to make is create exactly the situation that was experienced in person. You said people bought X, Y, and Z, like just it flew within seconds. And you want people to have the same feeling when they're buying digital to when they're in a room buying physical, don't you? You want it to feel as natural and as frictionless almost as that. We're maybe not that far away. People are used to a digital world, right? They are used to paying things online. They are. I can't help thinking that it's a combination of the frictionless experience and people feeling confident and comfortable in taking that step. And then the other side of the coin is just the simple education of people. Going back to what I said, LinkedIn, I'm going to go out, I'm going to educate people, wasn't the right way of doing it. Yeah. But you have to be able to communicate what NFT technology is and the blockchain in a very simple, engaging, clear way.
You've got to see the value.
You've got to see the value of it. And we all know that when people go, right, that's what it is. Okay. And they start using their own imagination. But it is about education, communication, and getting it to feel as natural as going into a shop and buying.
I think people probably miss the fact that they don't think it's an asset. So they think like, oh, I'm going to go here, I'm going to buy this Series 2, and that's it. But no. You could use the utility of that NFT, and then in 2 weeks' time or 4 months' time, you could decide, don't want this anymore. You sell it back to the market. Well, if you sold it back at the price you bought it for, it's cost you nothing. So you've got 4 months of utility for free. And obviously it could have gone up, and obviously it could have gone down. But that's why price stability is really nice, because imagine if a Series 2 was just for the entire year trading at $200 floor. You bought it for $200. You bought one for $200. You used the utility for a year, and after that you thought, no, it's not really for me, and I need that $200 back. You sell it back to the market. You paid nothing for that year of utility. And you're right. I think VFriends, just touching on them for a second, I think they've talked about this before. I think they might go and they might make their own marketplace for that very reason of trying to create the most frictionless experience. But
I imagine on these live streaming platforms like Whatnot and TikTok and X, you're going to be able to sell digital products on there.
That would be insane.
Imagine
if they integrate that.
Simon's looking up saying, I'm the AI expert. I don't know how that will work.
Why can't we go on to one of those channels where you're selling like jewelry and all those kinds of things?
QVC.
QVC. Why don't we should have someone should do a QVC kind of thing
NFTs.
And look, and if you buy 5 of these, and did you know they could do this and that? And suddenly it makes it human, because a human being is actually talking about them.
Yeah. It's funny. It's funny. The again, Gary V, the social behaviors that he picks up in people. Why women go shopping together is they want the community aspect. So it's a shopping thing. This is why the online live streams work, because it becomes a community. It's much more fun buying in a community And also you're egged on by the crowd. It's like, oh, I've got to get one of these, and there's only fucking 100 of them, and there's like 1,000 of us in this live stream. So that's what drives the buying behavior.
Hey, let's do it. Someone should do it. I don't think I'd be very good at it, but someone should actually start a QVC like.
I could do the show.
That shelf is not just for show. Simon, that shelf behind him is not just for show. It's empty. He doesn't actually sell anything, but he gets
exactly. Well, I've sold these figurines. That's why I've not got many left. But no, I could do the show. I could genuinely, I could do the show. I could go through like the listed VFriend Series 1s or Series 2s and be like, look, this is one you should get because this is a great character. I could even do it for other collections like Bored Ape. I could do the show. I could definitely not build the platform, but I could do the show.
Yeah, you don't want to be building the infrastructure. You just want to. But I think the digital assets is coming.
Keep it simple. Yeah, I like it.
Digital assets is coming on these live stream platforms. Folks, just the 120 of you that have joined us, just do me a massive favor. Please just share the stream from wherever you're viewing from. Really appreciate all of you who've joined us. This is a real good one. We're going to move on to Simon, who's been deep in the NFT stuff, especially on Robinhood. What is some of the stuff you're noticing on there? But I don't know whether I've still got PTSD or I just want to stay a little bit more narrow. I know you're looking at me a disappointment. You're like, Jay, you've got to.
No, I think you're absolutely sensible about it. What I would say is that there is some really good gems, I think, out there that are sort of forming, and collections which are doing nicely. And then there's a whole lot of dross, which we would expect, people just trying to make a fast buck, and you just have to be careful about that. The thing that is exciting is the ERC6551 contract tokens have been around for a while. Just
for people who are coming in contact with that term for the first time, what does that allow the contract to do?
It allows your NFT that is bound to that through the contract to have a wallet. Right. And in that wallet, so no longer is it just an NFT, which is a piece of art or a PFP, which we all know that they can within themselves be passes and membership. They can already have use, but these give it another dimension, because within those wallets can be put other NFTs and art and even information, records, achievement, which you can sell with the NFT. And because Robinhood is so kind of set up for tokenized stocks, there is a bit of a marriage made in heaven when it comes to these kinds of tokens. And what I'm noticing is that some people are just mimicking other people. Some people are not even bothering to even really do anything. They're just releasing to get a bit of cash. But what I have noticed, for example, and I'm not pushing any individuals, but there's some good ones out there. You know, we always talk about the founders and having a bit of belief in the human being behind the collection. When I look at its stackers, which I remember I got one really cheaply, went up like crazy, came back down.
This is the one you just took a punt on.
It's one I took a punt on, and then I bought a second one when it went right down again, and they're up both now. But I'll take that as an example. I love the fact that the person behind there who's still not revealed themselves, and people have said, "How are you doing this on your own? What's going on?" And he said, "Look," he or she has said, "I am doing this on my own, but I got some very clever people around me advising me and supporting me on this." But when you listen to their way they communicate and the way they're innovating and 100% committed and the way they're always adapting and changing things, that makes me think it's not a guarantee it's going to do well, but at least you're thinking there's an articulate, intelligent, committed, talented human being behind this, and very calm, very good at communicating intelligently. And I'm thinking, so not only are you innovative and clever at what you do, but you're also good communicator. The fact you're not revealing yourself, I don't really care at the moment. It's obsession, people needing to know who people are right at the beginning. So I like that, but there's a lot of dross. What I have noticed is that even Ordinal's collection, some of the founders and some others have dived onto Robinhood for all their own reasons. Some will be innovating very well, and some will just be desperate to make a bit more money, probably. What I like as a final thing on this is you don't need to go on Robinhood to utilize the technology. An ERC 6051 is Ethereum driven. That's where it's where it is. That's where it was. So when you look at what chimpers have done, instead of diving onto Robinhood, all they did was very swiftly make each of their chimpers ERC655 WUND. And what they've said here, which I love, is they are adventure pouches. And as you know, they dropped the Chimpster token into all those wallets a little bit for each person who owned a Chimpster, who now has its own wallet. But then they went further. They then said, look, we have put some timpers, I think one-to-one art, inside some of the protocol-owned chimpers.
Wow.
If you buy one, it may well contain a piece of really valuable, well, maybe cherished art.
Yeah.
And I to myself, you know, that is pretty nice. That's clever. That's not just jumping on the bandwagon of tokenized stocks. It's going, let's make this an adventure. Let's make this interesting, and let's make this valuable. And because of what they've done with the Chimpster token, they're not listed anymore at God knows how much more than the floor price, are they? They've got random prices. That's really clever. The Del Mundos were born with those contracts, and every Del Mundo has got a wallet already, because that was the plan, because they can award, and take note of where people have voted for environmental causes. So I don't think it's just one way of doing this. You don't need to go on Robinhood, but I do like some of what's going on up there.
It seems like there's a lot of momentum on there at the moment, isn't there? And it's like, it just, the thing with NFTs is it does belittle anything else that you get into. Like I've got this person on my Facebook who happens to be a top fan, but disagrees with everything I say on there. And they come up with all these coins. I don't know what it's crazy. But there are these people that just pop up like a mushroom just to disagree with you. But he comes up with all these coins that have done like 3 or 5%. And then I talk about NFTs, and they just say a bunch of bullshit. And I'm like, hold on a second. I could literally get 37 projects that are up between 50 and 400% here, even higher, 1,000%. And it's just like, it belittles anything else you get into because of the buying behavior, but also the built-in supply friction. And the fact that, especially the ETH NFTs, because the nominal figure of ETH is low, it then becomes this casino chip mindset. Because all of us, like 0.2 doesn't feel expensive, or 0.25 or 0.3 or point whatever, doesn't feel like a lot, but obviously the underlying fiat value might be a lot. But this is why it kind of messes with your head, and these things can run up to like ridiculous levels if there's some momentum.
What happened with Stackers? Didn't I was saying into the private chat, blimey, bought it at 0.024, blimey, it's 0.25, and I'm going, blimey. And then I'm going, blimey, it's come all the way down again.
But the thing is,
selling the bloody thing.
You saw it with Crypto Skulls. Crypto Skulls is up 73%. 73%. And like, no one's even talking about, like, if that was any other token in the top 50, people would be bouncing off the ceilings about it. But it's in NFTs. It's a dark little corner of the internet. No one can see it. There's no visibility on it. And it's just literally one buyer or a handful of buyers that's driven the price up, which is extraordinary. Guys, we're obviously just coming to the end of the stream now, just to the 132 of you. Really appreciate it. You can actually get the recording on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but also if you go to carrotlane.com/subscribe, you put your email address in, you'll never miss one of these, and you can listen to it in podcast. But also there's some written research that you get for free in there. So really worth being a subscriber, which I appreciate. Guys, any kind of, as we're closing off here, any sort of hidden gems that you guys are looking at, any things that you're leaning into asset wise?
Anything from you, Burge?
You take it, Simon.
Just while you guys are playing pinball with each other, I'll just throw this in the mixer, which is, I think World of Woman is a very good buy right now. I think it's still got the historical element. I know they've had the community have been despondent, but it's still largely the first. There's a strong community, and there will be.
That must be down, right?
Yeah, they're down. I think they're at 0.12, but World of Woman looks like a buy for me. I think.
Are they 0.08 something or 0.09 or something.
No, they're not that low, are they?
Are they?
Yeah, they are. They are 0.08, $160.
I think
Not that I'm
World Woman-
obsessed.
I think,
you
and
know.
I saw the behavior with Invisible Friends, because what happened was Invisible Friends dropped the fucking project founders didn't tweet for 2 years. They made tens of millions of dollars and didn't even bother tweeting on a free platform for 2 years. But what people had that were buying the asset is they had the pattern recognition of going, oh, this was a desirable asset in 2021. So then it was up like 70, 80% because people now could get their hands on something that they once wanted. And I think when World of Woman went up to 15, 16 ETH, there would be a huge proportion of buyers that would be like, I couldn't buy it then, but hold on a second, it's a 0.09. Why not just buy a couple of these? And it's always going to have the historical significance and largely the fact that 50% of the buyers aren't even here yet. So it's just, it's a long-term one.
I agree.
It's not dictated by the founder or the CEO.
No, the team whoever they may be, are posting fairly lightweight posts to keep things ticking over. Still, nothing has been communicated, but I do agree with you. You can just imagine, can't you? Suddenly, an announcement comes out, and it says X has now taken over or bought, or now we've done this and done that, and you could suddenly see
new CEO.
New
Simon
CEO.
Eastwood. Oh, you got a wig on? What?
Yes. Very high voice.
I thought the CEO was meant to be a female. Listen, whatever you identify with, that is up to you, my friend.
That's me. I identify as a wow CEO. Now suddenly says Adam Weitzman has now taken over. Could you imagine? It would just go.
Well, I mean, the other thing that's in play. Someone's going to buy up one of these collections. That's also in play.
I mean, Gary could do it. Gary has said before that he isn't opposed to buying up brands. He was speaking more.
He mentioned the Yetis, didn't he?
Yeah. But WoW, as we know, is near and dear to his heart. WoW is really near and dear to his heart. It's got a good message behind it, which is trying to get more women into the space, which is needed, and trying to be like the #1 female brand. I mean, honestly, Gary could do it. He could buy it, and I'm not saying he would run it, but I'm saying he could buy it and then put the right people in charge to then run it.
Well, you two, I think quite like be friends. And I was wondering whether I was thinking, you guys, someone should just ask him directly. What do you think about what's happening with World of Women right now?
Yeah, he won't give his opinion on that. But
will he not?
You can't impact culture in a community, and I think boots on the ground is a big thing. When I went to VCon in 2022, I will never forget how long the longest queue was, and it was for World of Women. And then later, I don't know if you were there, Burge, but it was me and Tay. We tried to sneak into the World of Women party because obviously at that stage, it was 16 ETH for a fucking World of Women. So we weren't going to buy one to get in. But we got in, and it must have been the English accents. I don't know. We must be lost, but we're into NFT. So we end up in this party. I don't know. I think it was Tay there with them. And then, but the fanfare of people dressing up as their piece of art, and just the playfulness of it all.
Yeah, amazing.
And I don't think and all of that money they spent on those outlandish, those networking events, which were like high-end stuff. I think largely there will be the ripple effect of that when financial conditions improve. But I just think World of Women is a good one. World of Women.
Can I say as well, Jaden and Burge, I'll never forget the fact that they gave a grant to my niece, who has lived with a brain tumor all her life. She's about the same age as Jude, my youngest, who's 16. And they donated her $10,000 to help her because she's an artist. She's been a brilliant artist from a tiny age. I mean, superb. And she, because they were doing giving grants for good for good reason, good causes,
Yeah.
a young woman, a young girl, an artist. It all fitted the bill, and it was fantastic that they did that. And it really made a difference because it helped her buy the equipment she needed, and B, it allowed her to go, because she's such a massive Disney fan, enabled her to go to Disneyland, wherever she went. And both those things, and she'll never forget that, and I'll never forget what they did. So people will say what they will about the original founders, but they did do some brilliant things. And I do think it's time, if someone could, I do not know what's going on with the people who are the directors at the moment, but I would love them to make a comeback. I think it's time. I really do.
Yeah, that is interesting. I didn't know that, Simon, but that is a significant thing, because I know they were helping female artists, but I didn't know that about. Did you say your niece?
Yeah, my niece. Yeah.
Oh, amazing! That's an amazing story.
Yeah.
That's an amazing story. Well, as neither of you got any hidden gems to dive into, I think we can kind of no, I'm only joking. We can end the stream on that note, which I think is fantastic. Just to the 146 of you that have joined us, really appreciate you guys. We'll likely be back next Wednesday at 8:30 Eastern time, or I think that works out to 1:30 UK time. Appreciate all of you. Until next week, we'll catch you then. Simon, Burge, catch you guys there. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Take care.